is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the views of WSIC.
Welcome to Community Centered, a show that features people in the community doing good things. Now, here are your hosts, Debbie O'Handley and Margi Kyle.
Welcome, welcome. Hello, my funny friend Margie. How are you? You're full of yourself already today.
Oh, it's been a rough day.
I know.
And so I feel like being silly. I'm sorry.
I think you are probably changing a lot of temperature of personality, so that's a really good thing.
Yeah.
The climate is a little heated, I think, out there.
Well, people are stressed.
Yeah. People
They're
are
very
stressed. And I know it's election day and it's probably already been decided. And I hope that if you have gone out and voted, good for you. If you haven't, please go out and do that. And remember, don't vote the personality, vote the policy.
Okay, that's good advice.
Isn't that good advice? So, and you haven't
And you
lived-
don't need to tell anybody who you voted
That's
for.
right. That's right. I don't know why we have to be so divided.
I know.
You know, I had to bring my 87-year-old mom to vote.
I wondered about that.
And you stay in the car, and they brought the ballot
right.
out there, and we were doing really good until she opened her wallet and offered to pay for it. And then I said, "That's not good. Close your wallet." So, yeah, it was kind of an interesting experience doing that. But Cornelius did a beautiful job. I think.
Yes, they do.
Of
They
really
do.
helping out with early.
Did you go?
voting.
Where did you go? To the town
Town
hall?
hall, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, town hall. I actually went with my husband. We stood in line, not long, went fast. People were friendly, and then drove my mom. And if I'd have known that I could have voted for myself,
Yes, you could have. Yeah.
I would have done that because that felt really like you were almost.
Well, I drove my mother when she was 92, and we get there in Hilton Head. She said, "Now, why am I here?" And I went, "I think we're leaving."
probably not a good time to have you here, but I hope you had a happy Halloween.
I did. We didn't have any trick-or-treaters, which was lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that, obviously at Hope House, we had a lot of the kids all dressed out, and they went to the neighborhood across the street and really had a
I was all
marvelous
dressed
time.
up as classy trash for nothing.
Did you sit there by yourself?
I did.
Dressed in your jewels and
Yep.
your. Well, you know what? I think you're a little understated with your jewels today, but I did bring you something because
Oh,
But
good.
I think this is something that can be worn year round for you, and it is a Wonder Woman pin because you do wonderful things in our
Aw,
community,
thank
and it
you.
should serve as a reminder daily that you know what you're doing good stuff.
Did your mother like the shawl?
She loved it. Thank you so much for that. There you go. See, that's why you're Wonder Woman. You're
Aw.
reaching out and doing really good things. So
But you know what? The best thing you can do when you're having a hard day is give to somebody else, as you know.
absolutely,
Yeah.
and you know that's it's been a
Oh,
constant.
I will wear that with such pride.
There you go. It looks good on you too. Little gold on you. You know, it's been a hard month, I think, with all the election stuff,
Yes.
and then with the hurricane, and you know the relief, and people putting together such effort at trying to fix things and accommodate folks who have lost a lot. So, I think I'm hopeful that after today or after we
What a good word for you.
Yes, after the election is settled, that we can get back to making hope happen in our community.
We will,
Yeah,
with a smile.
I think so. I think
Yes.
we're getting there for sure. I'm excited about our guest before. We've had him on before, but we're going to get some updates on what's happening in the healthcare field.
And I went to Novant's 20th party celebration.
Did too. I could only go briefly, but it was a great event.
Well, and I loved the nurses that kept coming out saying, "Oh, you're the lady with the stuffed animals and the
Mhm.
blankets and the."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Yeah. Oh, we just love it."
I
And
think
so
they
it
should do a
was-
party every Saturday.
I
Don't you
thi-
think?
Oh, I think Mike has nothing else to do.
Yes, so I think that would be probably something they could pull off. You know, the purple is great. It draws a lot of people
I
in.
won my little pom pom.
Yes, it's a fun color. It just felt like a really good day.
Yes, it was a good day.
And
The weather was spectacular.
yeah, and I know with Halloween, people were probably feeling a little sluggish that next morning, but it was really a beautiful, sunny, warm, beautiful day. So I appreciate that they did that.
Yeah.
Even though it was for them, I felt like it was more for the community, the celebration too. So thank you for doing that, Novant. That's shout out to Novant.
Yes. And if anybody out there is looking to get involved with the Lake Norman Health Forum. It meets at Levine Dixon Hospice in Huntersville. It's the first Tuesday of the month at 8:45.
Can anybody go to that? Or?
Yes,
Okay.
and that is the most giving group of people I have ever met, to be in a room. I'm the only, well, there are two people of us that work with the kids.
Yeah.
The rest are for seniors.
I don't think you can be in the healthcare field and not be a giving, generous,
That's right.
kind, and compassionate person.
Yeah.
And the fact that you gather in that space at Levine Dixon, I think
Well,
there's
and
just
Jim
a
Cooper is
certain-
such an uplifting,
Yes.
fun
and I think
man.
there's an ambiance there of respect and dignity,
Yeah.
so that I think everyone is being kind to each other. So
if
maybe I'll find my
anybody's-
way there.
I would love it because I think you would really enjoy it.
Yeah, I've been to a couple of the meetings over there, and I've met some really wonderful people because from that. You know, all right now, currently, people, all of the women living at Hope House are all in the healthcare field.
Really?
Uh-huh. They sure are. And
Well, that says a lot right there.
it sure does. Isn't that interesting?
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Although I'm learning some different things. Like we have a couple of ladies from New York who worked as like med techs and phlebotomy, and there was no certification required. But here in North Carolina, you need certification.
Okay.
So they have to do a little backwards, but we'll still get them
Well, I think
certified.
that's wonderful.
Yeah, it is really good.
Yeah.
And they're kind to each other. So just had some bad stuff happen, and looking for a do-over. But it's an interesting thing right now.
Well, that's got to be uplifting for you to see.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that they're taking care of each other too in a community setting, all having lived with some kind
Yeah.
of trauma or drama or homelessness. I just think it's interesting that this is the field that they're in, and that they're trying. They're
Well, I
trying
think
really
that's what-
hard to start
I need to
over.
come and do their color personality test again.
We have quite the
Yeah.
personalities in there. That would be a fun thing.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then we're moving along on construction. The two new builds. We're gonna we have a very generous individual who owns a kitchen cabinetry business out of Pineville, and they have donated both of the kitchen cabinets.
Oh my
on
gosh,
both-
that's huge.
It's huge. So he's bringing both his entire company out on Friday, and we're going to be installing kitchen cabinets,
Oh, what fun.
which means to me it's almost getting to the finish line.
Yeah.
So I'm getting super excited about
Yeah.
that. Flooring goes in on Monday, and before you know it, we'll be filling them up. So
And you
excited
did it
about
all
that.
on your own. You never even called me.
I want you to be surprised when you come to see what I chose.
I'm sure it'll be
I
spectacular.
thought of you for sure.
Yeah.
So we're going to go to break. But at any point, if someone is listening and they want to call, it's 844-STUDIO-4. We have a wonderful guest on today who is doing amazing things in our community.
Yes.
And take a listen and see the impact he's making. And this is Margie and Debbie with Community Centered, and we are delighted you're with us today. We'll be back shortly.
Call 844-STUDIO-4 now to join the Community Center discussion on 105.9 100.7 WSIC. Presented by Macintosh Law.
We'll keep the umbrella within close reach today, especially if you're headed out to the polls. Not expecting much of the way of rain, but a sprinkle or an isolated shower, not out of the question. Otherwise, partly cloudy skies. Temperatures warm into the mid-70s for this afternoon. Dropping off into the low 60s overnight with a mostly cloudy sky and a sprinkle. We'll keep that isolated shower chance in the forecast with the clouds in mid-70s for our Wednesday. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
The app with Lake Norman deals. The WSIC app is out now, wherever you get your apps.
Cakes and cookies, toys and gifts.
The Southern Christmas Show, November 14th through 24th at the Park Expo and Conference Center. Save on tickets at southernChristmasShow.com, courtesy of Kraft Body Scan.
The Southern Christmas Show.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. The Dirt Track at Charlotte Motor Speedway presents the World of Outlaws World Finals Wednesday through Saturday. Catch Dirt Racing's top 3 series for 4 days of action to decide their championships, featuring the World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series, the World of Outlaws Late Model Series, and the Super Dirt Car Big Block Modifieds. Single day and 4-day ticket packages plus camping information are all available at charlottemotorspeedway.com. Often imitated, never duplicated. The World of Outlaws World Finals invade the Charlotte Motor Speedway Dirt Track this weekend. Ghostface Brewing in Mooresville is having a veteran celebration on Sunday. Rocky Lynn will perform and rock the lot in a special outdoor concert. Beer Lab and Ghostface Brewing will be offering their full menu of drinks and food. Bring your chairs and enjoy this Veterans Day salute with a Rocky Lynn concert Sunday at Ghostface Brewing in Mooresville. The Mooresville Veterans Day Parade and celebration honors veterans from all branches and from all conflicts. The parade begins Monday, November 11th at Richard's Coffee Shop at 1 p.m. and travels to Mooresville Town Hall. Come join and say thank you to our veterans and hometown heroes on Monday, November 11th in downtown Mooresville. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
The Renaissance Festival is back Saturdays and Sundays. Now through November 24th, there's music, comedy, circus entertainments. Huzzah! Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com while supplies last.
Call 844-STUDIO-4 now to join the community center discussion on 105.9 100.7 WSIC. Presented by Macintosh Law.
Welcome back. Please call in if you have a question. I know you will once I introduce our guest. 844-STUDIO-4. And if you have a business that does outstanding things for the community, we would love to hear from you as well. We're booked for all of November, but we're starting again in December.
Awesome.
I know. So I have known our guest, Mike Riley, who's the president of Novant. I'm not sure how many years.
At least 8.
Yeah, at least. And then I was invited to be on your board, which was such an honor. And Little Smiles has done so much and gotten so much back by giving, especially the Martin Truex right in our own backyard. That your celebration of 20 years on Saturday was unbelievable. And to hear the nurses come out and say, "Oh, you the blanket and the stuffed animal lady?" Yes, I am. She said, "We love it. We love it." So, you know, it's when you have a child in the hospital, it's very scary.
It's very scary, yeah. And Margie, we thank you for everything that Little Smiles is huge, not just for our hospital, but I know that you contribute to many, many hospitals, and wherever the kids need
we provide.
Anything, you
That's
give
right.
it, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
And Debbie, thank you for coming to our celebration also.
Yeah, it was
we had a
awesome.
great time.
Yeah.
We did. But just
I want a little pom-pom.
Hey.
I don't have the skirt to go along with it, and I don't want it.
Well, congratulations on 20.
Thank you.
I
Thank
think
you.
That's...
And we still had, and we celebrated them at the celebration, but we still have about 40 team members who started at the hospital
And they also
20 years ago, and they're still team
still
members
there.
today.
Yeah.
And so we had jackets made for them, and we have certificates, and
Nice.
we really made it special for them. And it's funny, 20 years ago, the stories that they can tell, because when you open a small hospital, you're kind of have a limited staff, and it's a hospital, so all kinds of things came in, and they were telling me all these stories about how this person who had no idea how to do this thing was doing this, and the plant engineering guy was in the ER doing. It was just neat to hear all the weird things that they had to do in the beginning, and it's amazing. We started with 50 beds, and we're now 150 beds.
Wow. That was interesting.
Yeah, we've tripled in size. At the celebration, I talked a little bit about some of the numbers that we've done.
Right.
And we've done 80,000 surgeries. We've seen over 600,000 ED patients. We've delivered almost 30,000 patients. And what I said at the event, we could almost populate Cornelius
Wow.
with what we've done at the hospital over 20 years. So, well over 1 million patients have gone through for various reasons in the hospital. So, really have done a whole lot of great things for the community. And so we thought 20 years, we've been in the community, we wanted to celebrate. And it's funny because every year we do a trunk or treat for our team members and their
Right.
kids. We canceled that for this. And so
Oh, wow.
well, no, it's good. It's good. And this was much better. We brought the community in
Yes.
and had a really good time. And I thought it was a great event. We had bouncy houses and food trucks. So this is interesting. The egg roll food truck. I don't know if you
That
guys.
was unbelievable.
So apparently, and Kristen Trexler, I've got to give her all the credit. She's our community relations person. She set everything up and put everything together. So thank you, Kristen. You did a beautiful job. But she got this egg roll company committed a couple of months ago, and in that time, they had before this about 1,000 followers. Followers are all the rage. And then I can't tell you who it was, but some famous critic came and checked out their truck and did a couple of TikTok videos and really raved about these egg rolls. And now they have 10 million
Oh my goodness.
followers. So our celebration started at noon. The egg roll truck got here at 11:30. By 11:45, there was 150 people in the egg roll line.
Oh yeah.
Now I like to think they came to see us.
Yeah.
But
After they got their egg roll, they did.
hopefully they hung around a little bit. But yeah, the egg roll was the big draw.
But did you get one, Mike? Because I didn't get
No.
anywhere near that.
No.
I
line,
didn't either,
so-
but I was fascinated.
We
It was
had
there.
2 other food trucks, and I'm sure the egg rolls were great, but I wasn't going to wait in line for
Me
2
too.
hours to get an egg
And
roll.
it was so good to see Nicole Burton again.
Oh yeah, she's fantastic, and she's in a new role.
I
She
know. I
she
miss
was
her.
with the foundation and is wonderful, and now she's in our patient experience. So now she goes from hospital to hospital,
Yes.
helping with everybody's patient experience. Because I think you guys were talking earlier about how you have to be. When people come to the hospital, they're not at their best, and nobody chooses to come to the hospital. And so making sure that we provide a really good experience is really important. So Nicole, who better? And I know a lot of people in the community may not know Nicole, but she is the most wonderful, warm
is.
human being on earth.
Mhm.
And for her to help to push patient experience with all our team members throughout the whole company is a great thing.
I think you can tell. I think we were talking. We weren't recording, but my husband recently had an experience to be there, and I said that they must be pumping something in the water here because the entire staff is happy. And this is post surgical, right? And you're thinking, okay, is a lot of anxiety, a lot of things beeping and going on, and they were just really had such a great attitude, friendly, caring,
Yes,
compassionate.
yes.
Kind people, and even the follow up afterwards, which was important. People don't do that anymore. Customer service just isn't happening. So, from my perspective, I appreciate that. And as the caregiver, to knowing that, he was in really good hands was important to me because, like you said, you go to the hospital, you're not expecting to
That's
have a
right.
really good time
Right.
or a good experience from it, but we really did. So, high praise from the O'Hanleys on that one because it was important to us, too.
Thank you. Yeah, and when people come to the hospital, they're anxious, and when you're having a procedure, and the only minor surgery is never done on you, or a minor procedure is never done on you.
Yeah,
When it
it's
happens
major.
to you,
Yeah.
it's major, no matter what it is. And so I think we realize that and try. And it sounds like our team did a good job with. Another thing that's important is being able to adjust to different people's personality. And your husband's fun, so
Mhm.
they became fun.
They did.
And so if your husband was serious, they would have probably been serious. But
Yeah.
and that's one of the beautiful things about our team is that most of them have a really high emotional intelligence and can really see what people need and react to them. And sometimes we miss, but for the most part, we do a pretty good job. And hopefully that helped to lower your husband's anxiety.
Absolutely. And I think also, you think about it now, you hear some folks having their same day surgeries, right? Which is a hip replacement and I'm thinking, wow. And, I guess that's changed, right? It used to think that people were in the hospital for a long time.
Oh, no,
When
I
I
was
first
there
started-
for one day.
Yeah, I've been a nurse for a long time, 20 something years. And when I first started, if you got a hip replacement, you were in the hospital for 2 or 3 weeks.
Mhm.
Oh, no, I was gone that night.
Yeah, and now if it's an uncomplicated standard hip or knee replacement, you're out that day. Physical therapy will come into the recovery room in the evening or afternoon after you're finished, see if you can stand,
Yeah.
and then you go home.
You go home.
And
They teach you how to take a step,
mhm, yep,
you know,
yep.
up with the good, down with the bad, whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing. I
Yeah.
really do, because it, you get people home where they're comfortable,
That's
right?
right.
You hear people say, "I just want to be in my own bed."
I know.
right? I'm curious, Mike, and maybe we need this a whole nother segment on this, about the impact with the hurricane relief that might be happening with the hospital. My daughter and son-in-law had a baby on the 4th of October. And when they brought, it was C-section, so she was in for 5 days. And when she left the hospital, they said, you're really lucky you had her when you did, because we have sent all of our IV bags and a lot of donor breast milk to the mountains. And we were like, really? You don't think about the impact and the equipment, and then in a disaster relief area like that. So has that impacted our local hospital as well?
It has and it hasn't. We have a really healthy supply chain, which is great. But there is a IV manufacturing plant that's up near Asheville that went down completely, and that plant supplied about 60% of IV fluid for the entire country.
Wow.
So we were scrambling, all the hospitals were scrambling to get from other vendors and other places and borrowing and that kind of thing. Fortunately, they came back up within a week or so, which was fantastic. But for a week or so, you think about 60% of the IV fluids in the country are gone. And we had another big scare. The other big place that we get IV fluids are right near Tampa. And so as this one's down, the other hurricane was coming. And fortunately, they didn't see as much damage as we thought they would. But yeah, it was very scary. We had a lot of folks from Novant that were going up into the mountains to help people. There's a great news story the other day that I saw about one of our doctors, Dr. C.J. Atkinson, who lives up here, who's a fantastic doctor and good friend of mine. Went up in a helicopter, and they had a woman who was in need of a C-section. Went up, got her in the helicopter, and brought her down to Presbyterian to have the baby because there was no other option. And all of the area surrounding where she lived there's no way to get there with a car. So
That house, sad.
It's terrifying.
It is.
Really and truly is. And I know that there's still a lot of relief going on up there and everything. But I wondered about that, because I thought, well, I wonder if this is just because it's the DC area and that's impacted them. But that's interesting to know that was. And then I also heard that shipping was hard too, right? Because those are heavy bags of saline fluid. That's not that easy to ship. So the impact that this had long term.
Yes.
Is really astounding to me. So, well, there you go. We're ready to go to break again. Like, this time just flies by. So when we come back from break, we are talking with Mike Riley, president of Novant. And if you have questions,
give us a call.
Yeah, 844-STUDIO-4. Or if you have a question of Miss Wonder Woman herself, Margi Kyle and Little Smile, or myself, Debbie O'Hanley, executive director of the Hope House Foundation, we would be more than happy to take your call.
Absolutely.
And we have all the answers today on this political election day.
And if we don't, we'll make up something really good.
No political questions, please.
No political questions. Yeah, we're not going to tell you who we voted for. So when we come back again, we're talking with Mike Riley with Novant.
Yes.
Community Centered, presented by Macintosh Law, a staple in our community since 1997. Will return on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
We'll keep the umbrella within close reach today, especially if you're headed out to the polls. Not expecting much of the way of rain, but a sprinkle or an isolated shower, not out of the question. Otherwise, partly cloudy skies. Temperatures warm into the mid-70s for this afternoon. Dropping off into the low 60s overnight with a mostly cloudy sky and a sprinkle. We'll keep that isolated shower chance in the forecast with the clouds in mid-70s for our Wednesday. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. with easy access to 1 million plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away, so the One can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide cleans better than the leading competitive free detergent, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues.
Plus, Tide Free and Gentle has no dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on her skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
Are you in constant pain, under constant stress? Just need a moment away? Repeat after me. Serenity Now Massage Therapy. SerenityNowMassageandWellness.com, with locations in Mooresville and Cornelius.
Hey folks, you know Randy Marion Ford Lincoln in Statesville is known for the prices and selection, but I tell you what, you may not have known the distinction that this store received with Ford and Lincoln this year. We received the President's Award for 2023 for Ford for the 5th year in a row. We also received it for Lincoln for the first year, and I tell you, those awards don't come easily. It all boils down to taking care of the customers and having the vehicles you want in stock for you to buy.
Bob McIntosh here with the McIntosh Law Firm in Davidson. Serving this community has been a collective passion of our law firm since 1997. We offer the quality legal services and results you would expect from a large downtown firm, but with a personal, community-focused approach right here at home. The McIntosh Law Firm, your local legal resource.
To learn more about the McIntosh Law Firm, visit McIntoshLawFirm.com.
Family, quality, value. With a legacy of excellence for over 40 years, Horn Heating and Air Conditioning will make your house feel like a home. Welcome home to the feeling of HornHVAC.com.
Prioritizing your health is one of the best ways to take care of yourself. From routine visits to the joys of pregnancy to the illnesses that stop you in your tracks, Iredell Health System will be by your side. Learn more at iredellhealth.org.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. A number of businesses are celebrating Election Day with special deals. Krispy Kreme is giving away free donuts. Lyft and Uber are offering discounted rides to polling stations. Dave & Buster's is offering half-priced games. And even IKEA wants to celebrate voters with free frozen yogurt. Now that TGI Fridays is filed for bankruptcy, the chain's franchisees are worried people who have held gift cards for a long time will rush to use them. It's estimated nearly $50 million worth of gift cards are tucked away somewhere, and they never expire. Franchisees want to ensure there's a source of funds available from the parent company to cover the cost of those who redeem their cards. A pickup in hiring helped the service sector to expand in October at the fastest pace in over 2 years. The ISM Index shows employment with its biggest climb since August of 2023. Stocks are up between 0.9% and 1.3%. I'm Nancy Lyons, Bloomberg Radio.
Macintosh Law presents Community Centered with Debbie O'Hanley and Margi Kyle on 105.9 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
Welcome back to Community Centered. I'm Debbie O'Hanley, your host on this Election Day Tuesday with my friend Margie and Mike Riley, president of Novant. We were talking during the break about a couple of things, and we know about the whole, I think the last time we had you as a guest, you were about to maybe acquire Lake Norman Hospital. There were some FCC, something was in the works. So let's pick it up where that left off.
Well, bad news. We got to the point where local judge approved the merger, and then the FTC appealed it to an appellate court, and the appellate court turned it down. And we just didn't see a way forward after that point. We had spent a year or two and kind of worked through a lot of legal things and really kind of put our best foot forward. And the FTC fought us every step, and even when we won, they appealed and we lost, and we just thought that we could go through it all again, but the chances of winning were probably even more slim since we lost this time. So we're kind of back to the drawing board, and
It's all good.
doing what we're doing.
Yeah,
we
you know what? Focusing on where you're at and not expanding with that piece of it, maybe it's a good thing.
Could be.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think maybe. And then the other thing we were talking about on break is just sort of the climate of healthcare these days, right? I mean, I know we crawled out from underneath COVID and where our poor healthcare community was just so overworked and overtaxed and stressed out. But it seems like to me, the care that I've received, and I know, like I said, my husband and then my daughter in the hospital, it seems like we found our way back. And it almost seems like, we built it even better. We came back with just more resiliency and more compassion for our community. Maybe I'm wrong.
I
You feel
hope
that way,
so.
I
Margie?
hope so.
Yeah, I think so. That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I hope so. I think COVID was rough. COVID was
Oh,
rough
it was
for
awful.
for human beings in general, but
Mhm.
certainly the healthcare community. And it's interesting when it first started, and this is how naive I am. When it first started, I thought, oh, this will be great for nursing and for physicians, and we'll be able to recruit better. Because I remembered back to 9/11, and remember everybody wanted to join the military, everyone wanted to be a fireman,
Yes.
everyone wanted to be a policeman. And I thought, because when COVID first started, we heard all about healthcare heroes, and for the first 6 months of COVID, I think the nurses ate for free every day because people would send us food and say thank you and all that. And I thought this was going to be great. But as COVID wore on and it got harder and harder, the healthcare team got more and more burned out, and we actually lost more than we got back.
Well, you had to burn out because
Yeah.
it was just crazy.
It was crazy.
What
it
about
was
the whole travel? Like, I know that there was, it seemed like to me, because I had a few folks at Hope House that were traveling nurses or traveling med techs or something. Is that still?
it's an issue, but nothing like it was in COVID.
Yeah.
So when COVID first started, we have X number of nurses to handle an average number of patients. With COVID, we had 50% more patients, and so when you have 50% more patients, you need help. And so we went to the travel companies and said, hey, can you help us? And so there are some limitations that travel companies have for nurses. For example, you have to travel at least 200 miles from your house, and they would pay a 25% more. And during COVID, it got as high as, or as low as for travel 50 miles, and they were paying triple. And so imagine if I told you, I'm going to pay you triple, you just have to drive an hour every day. Who wouldn't do that? And
That's
so
right.
lots and lots of nurses got on the travel wagon, which was great when we needed these nurses. But what ended up happening as the number of COVID patients went down, the travel nurses didn't want to come back to
Yeah.
their old jobs because
That's
they were making
right.
triple.
Mhm.
And so we're getting to the point now where we still have more travel nurses on average than we did pre-COVID, but nowhere near where we were, mid-COVID. So it's gotten much, much better. Still an issue to some extent, but nothing like it was before.
And what about the nursing field in general? Because wasn't it just a few years ago that we were talking about a shortage of nurses and, that
Yeah.
going on?
Still a shortage. Yeah,
There
still a
still is.
shortage. Because what we're seeing, the baby boomers, I think you can read anywhere, baby boomers 10,000 more every day. And the average age of the average nurse is, I think, 42 years old. So what's happening is the nurses are, the number of patients 65 and over are a heavier population for healthcare. And the nurses are getting older. And so the nurses are retiring as
Yeah.
more people get to, high healthcare utilization age. So yes, we have a nursing shortage combined with the silver tsunami, and it's causing the shortage to be even worse. It's I think in the projections are that we'll be I can't tell you the projections, but there continues to be a shortage, and I think it's going to be here for the foreseeable future. Yeah. If you want to go to nursing school, it's a great thing to be. Public service
I actually
announcement.
have 2 enrolled at Hope House that are in nursing school.
That's fantastic. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to reproduce nurses. My daughter is in nursing school at Appalachian State.
Oh, good for her.
So yeah, it's a wonderful field. The thing about nursing, you can do anything. I think people say, "Oh, I don't like the blood. I don't like with this or that," but there are thousands of different nursing
types
jobs.
of nurses, yeah.
If you don't like this, you can do that. There's just many ways to
You
go.
think about that. There's teaching, right?
Right.
There's school nurses.
Yeah.
There's public health. I mean, there is just a lot of choices in
That's
that
right.
field.
Yeah.
And I think we need to do
Very
what we can to
rewarding.
recruit some more people
Yeah.
to be
You do?
nurses because it is a very rewarding
Yeah.
field, and we need more good people doing
Yes,
that
we
work.
do.
And really, not just nurses, but rad techs, med techs,
Mhm.
phlebotomists. COVID did take a hit on a lot of the healthcare field. I think people saw how scary it was and ran instead of ran to it. And so now we're starting to see people come back into it. But healthcare is a wonderful field. I think you talked about how positive the people were. I tell my team all the time, healthcare is one of the few fields where every day, no matter what your job is, every day you can make a difference in somebody's
Mm.
life. And that's how it's a great way to get joy. That's a wonderful way to, you guys talk about doing good in the community. I hope our teams do good in the community every day
They do.
because they care for people. If you got into healthcare to make a lot of money, you probably made a bad career move.
Yeah,
Mhm.
But if you got
said
in it
that
to
the other
help
day.
people,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that's what you do it for.
Well, I feel that same way about working with the homeless population that I do. I have an opportunity and I have an obligation every day to make a difference in someone's life, and I can make that choice happen. It's a very difficult field, but yet it is extremely rewarding when you see the payoff. When you see someone who has arrived and doesn't know what direction they want to go, but now they're enrolled in nursing school. They're seeing the payoff. They're seeing the reward. They're seeing, studying alongside their child that they may not have had that opportunity before. I think the rewards are rich and very deep, and making a difference is a big deal.
Well, you started in nursing.
For the record, I'm still a nurse.
Okay.
It's,
Oh,
it-
you
it's,
always
it's,
will be.
It's like a little inside joke.
Are you
because
always a nurse
I'm
once
gonna-
you're a nurse?
Well, you have to do continuing ed and
Yeah.
stuff, but I'm still a registered nurse in
Okay.
North Carolina.
Okay.
But
It's
I
the-
think that's a wonderful profession for men as
It,
well.
is, it really is. It's a little bit of an inside joke because the nurses on the floor won't let me touch patients, but but I'm still legally a registered nurse. But
Yeah.
yeah,
You two could become a president of a hospital if you're a nurse.
You
So
could.
there you
You
go.
but it is a great profession for men. One of the best male nurses I know used to be a stonemason, and he went back and went into nursing school, and he's a fantastic nurse.
Yeah.
now. So there are a lot of second career men and a lot of first career men
Yeah.
in nursing. It's a great field.
Why was it a choice for you?
It's a long story, but I have two, this is a little joke, equally worthless degrees from NC State. I have an English degree and a psych degree, which makes me very well rounded, but
Yes.
hard to get a job.
Yes.
I worked in a psychiatric hospital as a mental health tech, and then during that, I went back to nursing school and got an associate degree in nursing and became a nurse. I loved healthcare in general, but at that time was a little, I was young. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and saw what the nurses did, and kind of really fell in love with it, and decided to become a nurse. And then I became a cardiac nurse here at Presbyterian, and just sort of over the years, I've actually had 13 jobs with Novant. So I was the nurse, the charge nurse, the the nursing supervisor, nurse manager, director of nursing, just have kind of moved my way around Novant. And
Yeah.
I love it.
That's an interesting jump from being a cardiac nurse to an administrative executive. I was trying to think of, what the segue was there.
Yeah, it's funny. If you had told me back then that I was going to be running a hospital someday, I would have laughed at you
Yeah.
because it was not
Yeah.
my intent. It's just I kind of got tapped for this job and then this job, and then really fell in love with leadership and healthcare and what that looks like.
And I think the psych background has served you
Didn't
well
hurt.
with your
That's right. Didn't
staff.
hurt.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
you've done a good job with that. When we come back from break, we are visiting with our guest, Mike Riley, president of Novant. I am Debbie O'Hanley with my friend Margi Kyle here on Community Center. We'll be right back.
Macintosh Law presents Community Centered with Debbie O'Hanley and Margi Kyle. Coming up on 1059 100.7 WSIC.
We'll keep the umbrella within close reach today, especially if you're headed out to the polls. Not expecting much of the way of rain, but a sprinkle or an isolated shower, not out of the question. Otherwise, partly cloudy skies. Temperatures warm into the mid-70s for this afternoon. Dropping off into the low 60s overnight with a mostly cloudy sky and a sprinkle. We'll keep that isolated shower chance in the forecast with the clouds in mid-70s for our Wednesday. That's your forecast from the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Cakes and cookies, toys and gifts.
The Southern Christmas Show, November 14th through 24th at the Park Expo and Conference Center. Save on tickets at southernChristmasShow.com, courtesy of Kraft Body Scan.
The Southern Christmas Show.
Here is your WSIC community calendar. The Dirt Track at Charlotte Motor Speedway presents the World of Outlaws World Finals Wednesday through Saturday. Catch Dirt Racing's top 3 series for 4 days of action to decide their championships, featuring the World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series, the World of Outlaws Late Model Series, and the Super Dirt Car Big Block Modifieds. Single day and 4-day ticket packages plus camping information are all available at charlottemotorspeedway.com. Often imitated, never duplicated. The World of Outlaws World Finals invade the Charlotte Motor Speedway Dirt Track this weekend. Ghostface Brewing in Mooresville is having a veterans celebration on Sunday. Rocky Lynn will perform and rock the lot in a special outdoor concert. Beer Lab and Ghostface Brewing will be offering their full menu of drinks and food. Bring your chairs and enjoy this Veterans Day salute with a Rocky Lynn concert Sunday at Ghostface Brewing in Mooresville. The Mooresville Veterans Day Parade and celebration honors veterans from all branches and from all conflicts. The parade begins Monday, November 11th at Richard's Coffee Shop at 1 p.m. and travels to Mooresville Town Hall. Come join and say thank you to our veterans and hometown heroes on Monday, November 11th in downtown Mooresville. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
The Renaissance Festival is back Saturdays and Sundays. Now through November 24th, there's music, comedy, circus entertainments. Huzzah! Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com while supplies last.
Now back to Community Centered, presented by Macintosh Law, only on 1059 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
Welcome back. Where did this hour go?
I don't
We
know.
say that every week.
I have no idea. This is my hour to hide. So I wish it was longer.
But we're here with Mike Riley, president of Novant Health, and we were talking about the nursing career and what a wonderful field that really, truly is.
It is.
And that we still see a shortage.
We
in
still
that.
we do, and
Yeah.
we still have a big need. And it's interesting you were asking about me and why I joined. I have a story, if you'll indulge me.
Absolutely.
So I was on the precipice of finishing my degrees, my undergraduate degrees, and I was trying to decide between getting a master's in something I didn't really know and going to nursing school. And I had been working as a nursing assistant on night shift on a medical surgical floor. And so let me put that in the background. I was at a James Taylor concert, and it's funny, some people don't remember James Taylor, but James Taylor. And I heard from in the distance, Mike, and I look, and I was, one of those, you kind of recognize them, and she came over and she brought her husband and she said, "Hey, Bob, this is Mike. He took care of Granddad. He used to bring in his magazines and talk to him and all that." And it was then that I realized that I had all but forgotten these people, and they're going to remember me the rest of their lives.
That's right.
And
That's right.
I tell the nurses that what you forget by the time your shift is over, when you're getting in your car, they're going to remember for the rest of their life.
That is profound.
Yeah. And that's what clicked for me, and that's what got me.
Well, that's what kept you going
to go to nursing school. Yeah.
Wow, that's really profound. You remember that kindness too, and the impact that it made. Because, like you said, we always talk all the time about the hospice nurses.
That's
and
right.
those people and everything, and you always remember your doctor and all that. So that's pretty significant.
Well, Karen, Lee's nurse, who was your dad's nurse, just remarried. And of course, she said, "I can't get married without you being there," because Lee would actually get very emotional when she'd go to leave after her hour or 2 hours because he just respected her so much.
I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And, she would say to me, I'm in love with your husband. I'd say, it's okay. It's okay. I'd rather have it be that way than the other way.
That is a special field.
It
Hospice
is.
nursing.
Oh
I
my
think,
gosh, they were unbelievable.
They really are. You have to have the whole Monty for that, right?
That's right.
The whole compassion and follow up and everything, and learn how to deal with a lot of loss. So that's That's
Yeah,
interesting.
we talk a lot in the hospital about resiliency
Mm.
for not just nurses, but for all the healthcare team
For everybody, yeah.
because they're exposed to the worst of the worst in
That's
people,
right.
not in people, but the worst things that can happen to people. They come to the hospital.
That's right.
And so to deal with the emotional
Even the
trauma,
gals that sweep the
Yeah,
floor.
right?
that's an interesting point, Mike, because recently we've been involved with CMPD with crisis intervention training. So I'm wondering, do you do a lot of trauma training, or is there what we call CIT, crisis intervention training? Because I'm sure your ER people see a lot of interesting
They sure do.
folks.
Yeah.
We do have classes for that
Yeah.
for crisis intervention training, and then we also have something mental health first aid, which
Mm.
is different, but something that's also important. And it's not just for the I don't know stereotypical mental health outburst. It's for you or me or to be able to identify mental health issues in everyone. And I think that's important because, I think our stereotypical thoughts of people, and it's not, it's you and it's me, and it's people who are struggling with
Yep.
lots of different things.
That's
and,
right.
how can we, and so part of these classes are how can I identify that in you or the patient or the patient's, husband or whatever, whoever that is, and be more, I don't know, empathetic toward that.
Yeah, I think that's part of the emphasis with the CIT training with CMPD is focusing on, is this a true mental health crisis, or is it just anxiety or depression or something like that? And
Combination of all.
Yeah, and I personally see, I mean, in the work that I do, there's an epidemic of mental health crisis in our community. So the more people that we have trauma informed or know how to deal with this, I think we're doing a disservice to our community when we're not offering that kind of information out there. Because think about what you do, right? Even when a child comes into the ER, the Martin Truex Hospital, and to be offered a teddy bear or something just to hold on to during that time can make a significant impact on the outcome of what they're there
Well,
for.
and we
So-
don't treat just terminally ill children. I
Mhm.
mean, they can have a broken leg. I don't care. If they have a need, we get it.
Yeah.
But we have over the years lost some really special kids.
Maybe we
And-
need some teddy bears for adults or something.
Oh, we do.
Some weighted teddy bears in
Yes.
the
Well,
ER
you
would
asked
be
for
some nice.
something,
Yes.
remember, for one
Mhm.
mom.
Mhm.
And I try to take care of the whole family when something like that happens because they're hurting just as much.
Yeah, I think people don't realize the impact that those kind things that
That's
we
right.
offer, what they do for our folks. And well, I'm glad to hear that you offer that, because, and especially for staff too, right? Like, how do you leave that? You see these people with the 9 to 5 job, right? They walk out the door, they punch the time clock, and it's over. But a lot of
not
that
over.
goes home
Yeah.
with
It
us.
does. It really does.
You know?
And ER nurses and critical care nurses, trauma nurses, and ER nurses and ICU nurses are 25% more likely to develop depression because it's impossible to care for somebody who's having the worst period of their life and not feel some of that,
Yes.
not
You
absorb
can't
some of
shake it
that.
off.
Yes,
Yeah.
can be
So
contagious.
we
Yeah.
talk a lot about resiliency and
Yes.
methods to keep that at bay or to find things outside of the hospital
That's
that,
right.
that they can talk to. We have EAP. We have a lot of
Yeah.
different programs to help folks with that. But we talk to them a lot about how they've got to find a way to break away. They've got to find a way to think about something outside of the hospital when
Yeah.
they're not in the hospital, because you carry it, and if you can't find a way to release that, it
Mhm.
just builds and builds
That's
and
right.
builds.
It's so
That's right.
important. It's like someone saying, well, you need to go to the gym and work out more. And then you need to say, well, you need to leave your work at home because it's a very stressful thing. And you bring that. It's an easy thing to say, but a
But
hard thing
that's
to
right.
do.
Yep.
But very
Yeah.
important to do. And
That's
you have to
right.
make it a practice
Yeah.
of not bringing that home.
Well, it's very hard to do. It's like a
Absolutely.
friend of mine called not too long ago and said, how are you doing?
Mhm.
And I said, well, I still don't want to travel. And she said, well, you need to just get over it. And I thought, how do you just get over a death?
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah.
You have to go through the stages and phases and
You got to get
Video.
through it.
Yeah, you
right?
do.
You go around it.
So I'm sure for a nurse, there are times when, and a doctor too.
Yeah. Oh,
Very
for sure.
much so.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
Yeah.
all the healthcare folks,
That's
do.
right.
It's hard. It can be really hard. But again, it's really, 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 really rewarding too. And
Unbelievable.
yeah, one of the things I walk around and talk to the nurses all the time, and sometimes the things that you and I think are amazing, they do that 10 times a day. And if I were to when I say, "What'd you do today?" "Oh, nothing. Just another day." But you would not believe the things that
I
these
know.
people
Sure.
do.
I
And
know.
and I've got to drag it out of them and say, "Well, tell me what you did." And then I'll talk to patients and they'll say, "Oh my gosh, Susie was so wonderful. She did this and this." And
Yeah.
I go tell Susie, "This man is in love with you."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, well, yeah." And they just, so, it's hard for them to, they're humble. They don't
Very
want to
much
brag
so.
about all the great
No.
things they do. So, but just know they are fantastic at what
Yeah.
they do.
They are. I know before my husband's surgery, he said when the doctor came in, he said, "You're having a good day, right?" He's like, "I'm having a good day." And he said, "You're having a really good day, right?" And he said, "Yes, I'm having a great day." And I think, again, there's that reassurance piece of it. And I know the anesthesiologist said to him, "Dude, afterwards, beer and wings. You're good to go. I did it. Beer and wings, you can go." And he's like, "I can have beer and wings after this. This is amazing." So I think that, sense of humor helps.
Oh,
I know that
absolutely.
smiling at people, we talk about this all the time. How do you
Yes.
put hope back in the headlines when your community is hurting? It's just coming alongside of each other and offering kindness and connection and community.
There's a book called The Happiness Advantage.
Oh, yeah.
I highly, I teach a class to all our new team members. And one of the things that I highly recommend is that book, The Happiness Advantage. And it talks about how it's not just smile and be happy and your life will be better, but it talks about how your neurons and dendrites can actually form, and people who have a positive outlook
That's
are
right.
not just more mentally healthy, but more physical. They have fewer physical ailments than people who are less happy.
I'm feeling a podcast coming on. I'm thinking, I hope that Justin is listening, because I think we just put something out there for our community that would really be a really good way to make connection and something really good happen. What do
Well,
you think,
as a
Margie?
designer, I had done this client's house many times. It'll be very short. And the last house she moved into, $1 million house, and she was miserable because she had to leave the peninsula. I told her to go get dressed. I took her to Jeff Gordon's hospital. We went to a birthday party for a 5-year-old who was not supposed to be alive. And she said, "I should never talk to you again." And I said, "That's your choice."
Mm-hmm.
On the way home, she said, "You changed my whole life and my whole attitude."
Perspective is
I said, "You
everything.
can't sit there and feel sorry for yourself living the way you've been living."
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
There you go.
perspective is everything.
That
Yeah.
it is.
Yep.
It is.
I'm going to push that podcast, I think. I just was hearing there might be an open segment later in the day. So just saying, we're going to put that out there. So again, if you're listening, 844-STUDIO-4, if you want to ask Mike a question or Margie and I, we
In
are
1 minute.
about to wrap things up. This flew by again. I want to thank you, Mike, for what you do, for what you do for our community. It's not just about what you do, but it's about your attitude too and what you make happen. We talk about, what is it at Hope House? At least we say hope. What does that mean? It's a gift that's invisible, but yet can be seen. So I think you're showing up and you're being seen for your community and for your staff. And I want to thank you for doing that, because it's those little things that make a difference.
Pleasure to be here, and thank you guys for having me, and thank you guys for what you do.
Yeah.
Thank you for my new jewelry.
You are
I
the
needed
Wonder
it.
Woman. I didn't even get to put my crown on, but you know what? That heavy is the head that wears the crown, so I'll just have to carry it instead. But thank you so much for listening to Community Center today. We'll be back next week. Margie
Yes,
and
we
Debbie.
will.
See you then. Bye-bye.
Serving you better than ever before. WSIC, Statesville, W290DK Mooresville, W264C.